Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parikacharya Asasada Shri His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Brinda Ki Jai Srila Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Jamuna Ganga Mai Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shri Krishna Balarama Ji Ki Jai Shri Radha Shama Sundar Lalita Vishaka Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, the universal form, and I'm reading text 16 to 19, right? Is that right? Because there's no purports. So I can see on the board text 16. So we'll just chant this verse together. 16 we'll chant. And then I'll read the rest and I'll read the purport to text 19. Okay. Aneka-bāhūdara-vaktra-netraṁ. Paśyāmi tvāṁ sarvato nanta-rūpam. Nāntaṁ na madhyam na punas tavādiṁ. Paśyāmi viśveśvara viśva-rūpa. Aneka-bāhūdara-vaktra-netraṁ. Paśyāmi tvāṁ sarvato nanta-rūpam. Nāntaṁ na madhyam na punas tavādiṁ. Paśyāmi viśveśvara viśva-rūpa. Repeat. Aneka-bāhūdara-vaktra-netraṁ. Paśyāmi tvāṁ sarvato nanta-rūpam. Nāntaṁ na madhyam na punas tavādiṁ. Paśyāmi viśveśvara viśva-rūpa. Aneka-bāhūdara-vaktra-netraṁ. Paśyāmi tvāṁ sarvato nanta-rūpam. Nāntaṁ na madhyam na punas tavādiṁ. Mataji's. Very good. Aneka-bāhūdara-vaktra-netraṁ. Paśyāmi tvāṁ sarvato nanta-rūpam. Antam na madhyam na punas tavādiṁ. Word for word. Aneka, many. Bāhu, arms. Udara, bellies. Vaktra, mouth. Netram, eyes. Paśyāmi, I see. Tvām, you. Sarvataḥ, on all sides. Ananta-rūpam, unlimited form. Nāntaṁ, no end. Madhyam, no middle. Punaḥ, nor again. Tava, your. Ādim, beginning. Paśyāmi, I see. Viśva-īśvara, O Lord of the universe. Viśva-rūpa, in the form of the universe. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see your body, many, many arms, bellies, mouth and eyes, expanded everywhere, without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, no beginning. There's just one sentence purport. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is unlimited. Thus through him everything could be seen. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha techo rasim sarvato diptimantam paśyāmi tvāṁ dunirikṣyam samantat diptanalakadyutim aprameyam. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. Tvām aksharam paramam veditavyam, tvāmasya viśvasya param nidanam, tvām avyaya shasvatadama gupta, sanatanastvam purusho matome. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. Anadi madhyam ananta-rūpam, ananta-bāhum shashisuya netram, paśyāmi tvām dipta-hutashavaktram, svatecha savishvamidam tapantam. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Purport. There is no limit to the extent of the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here and in many other places, there is repetition. But according to the scriptures, repetition of the glories of Krishna is not a literary weakness. It is said that at a time of bewilderment or wonder or of great ecstasy, statements are repeated over and over. That is not a flaw. Om Aginati Mirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So by the grace, we're running a little bit late because the other class before went over time. But with your blessings and well wishes, and by the mercy of my spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, I'll try and speak something on this amazing topic. Bhagavad Gita is amazing. We just heard this detailed glorification by Arjuna of the personality of Godhead. So many people, they don't want to believe in God. The few that believe in God, unfortunately, they don't have much conception. Who is God? What He looks like? What He does? Where He is? And more, how to connect with Him. So I was very nervous to be asked to speak on Bhagavad Gita on the 11th chapter, the universal form. It's like actually the whole concept of this universal form is inconceivable. What can I possibly understand of God's universal form? But then again, we read Srila Prabhupada's books, and always some inspiration comes, some guidance comes, different slokas come to help us along. So here we're hearing Arjuna's prayers now. He had been hearing, the chapter 10 about the opulences of the Absolute, and his illusion was disseminating very quickly, and he requested Krishna to please show his universal form. Of course, Srila Prabhupada explains that is more to show that if any challenges will come in the future or any imposters will come that I am God, then we can say, well, show us the universal form, like that. So I wanted to start off with a little story. When I was very young, about 21 years old, I came from Australia to India, And this was before I joined Krishna consciousness, and I was searching for a teacher to teach me what is the absolute truth. I'd been reading many books, and somehow or other by Krishna's grace, even so I didn't know Krishna at that time, I came to the understanding that I need to find somebody who knows the truth and can teach me. So with that intention, I'd come here to India, and I went to visit many different holy places, meeting sadhus and yogis and this and that. Anyhow, I was in one yoga ashram in the mountains, and we were doing meditation and so many things every day. And many different people from all different walks of lives were there, mostly from Europe, different people traveling. And we had established an altar, like a little kirtan hall. Somehow or other, some people were there, they already knew about Hare Krishna kirtan. So we were chanting Hare Krishna and different other mantras and like that. And the altar, the rule was whatever is most dear to you, you could place on the altar. You know, we're trying to be universal and liberal and all-inclusive. So somehow or other, by Krishna's mercy, I'd already bought a Bhagavad Gita. Of course, I could hardly speak the word Bhagavad Gita, what to speak of trying to understand what this book is about. And but I loved, it seemed like beautiful poetry. You know, the verses, they all just sounded so nice and beautiful, and I was always very attracted to beautiful literature. And so there's, as you know, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's so many pictures inside. So there was this one picture that really grabbed my attention. And I didn't know who it was or what it was. I wasn't even sure, is it a man or is it a woman? I couldn't quite work it out. But I think it was a man, very elegantly sitting, you know, with his legs sort of one over the other, holding this little calf, and just looking so sweet and equipoised and peaceful and very attractive. So I really liked that picture. So I put it on the altar, you know, with that picture open. I thought, somehow or other, I just really like this picture. This is most dear to me. I had no clue that this is Krishna. You know, I just put it there. But then, every time I walked past the altar, somebody, and then later I learned who it was, somebody changed the picture to another one, and I really didn't like it at all. And it's not in these Bhagavad Gitas anymore, this picture, but I remember it was like this gigantic space, like spaceman walking through the universe, and you know, the stars and the eyes were the moon and the sun and the fire and the water and the ocean. And what I later could understand, this was a picture of the universal form of the Lord. And I didn't like it at all. This other person kept opening it to that picture, and I kept putting it back to what I liked. And I thought about that, you know, in preparing for this class. I was thinking about it because everything in relationship with Krishna we know is transcendental. Any paśyāmi, any paraphernalia, anything in relationship with Krishna is transcendental. So what is, you know, the word astonishment, wonder keeps coming up. Somehow or other Krishna had to show this universal form, you know, to show his grandeur. Prabhupada speaks of the 6 opulences. I found that fascinating when I first joined Krishna consciousness, how there's such a detailed description of who is God, and it makes sense, and you can't argue against it actually, and it is supposed to make you convinced that God is worthwhile to approach. So astonishment in Nectar of Devotion in chapter 46, as Prabhu on Monday was saying, it speaks about this adbhuta bhakti rasa, or this astonishment. So I thought about it, why I didn't like that picture, because yes, it's supposed to create a feeling of astonishment and amazement and a conviction of the greatness of God. But how do you approach such a perspective of the Supreme Personality of God? It actually, when I looked at it, it also created a fear, not just a feeling of awe and reverence, but also a feeling of fear. And coming from that Christian background, you know, where you're told God is some big person up in the sky watching everything that you're doing, and if you're doing good, you go to heaven, if you're doing bad, you go to... So I didn't like that approach to God, actually. You know, this awe and veneration and fearfulness like that. So I wanted... Prabhu on Monday, he was saying how we can have an appreciation of God's greatness by seeing. You know, Arjuna saw this universal form and was completely overwhelmed, actually. And or we can hear about it and we can feel astonishment, or we can speak about it, like Lord Brahma did when he went back to Satyaloka and told how he had stolen all the cowherd boys and the calves. So I was thinking, wow, we're so fortunate that even so, it's such an inconceivable topic, you know, of the Bhagavad Gita, this universal form. I don't actually even have a desire myself to want to see it. Even Arjuna had to have divine eyes, right? And I'm thinking, it would take your breath, it would take your life. How would you be able to contain, you know, such a vision? But we're so fortunate in Krishna consciousness that, you know, we are also feeling completely this astonishment and this amazement of Krishna consciousness every day, again and again, you know, by hearing the classes and the seminars, hearing about the Lord and His activities and His beauty, by seeing, every day we get to see, to be with the devotees, to see the deities, and the beautiful, amazing festivals that are being inaugurated all the time, and the decorations. And then, of course, we have this opportunity of speaking. We are able to give a class, or we can go anywhere. Prabhupada says, whoever you meet, tell them something about Krishna. So we can go at any time to anyone, please let me tell you something about Krishna. And as soon as you speak, you are feeling again the wonderment and the astonishment of your own experience, because that is what Krishna consciousness, what makes it so valuable. And that's why even after 50 years or so many years, we can't give it up, because we're having a direct experience of the Lord again and again and again. And that makes us, keeps us inspired, makes us excited, and keeps this astonishment, you know, nourished. However, personally, and as we know from Shastras, we don't really want so much this relationship with Krishna in awe and reverence. We want to have, like we know that every jiva, all of us individually, we have a perfect, eternal, loving relationship with Krishna. And we're all looking for this loving relationship. As Prabhupada explains, unfortunately, we're just looking for it in the wrong place. If we could just understand that actually Krishna wants to give his love to us, and he wants to receive our love, and be engaged in an intimate relationship, we would be even more astonished and amazed. I was thinking of the analogy that Srila Prabhupada gives of the High Court judge. You know, like if you're a child, excuse me, if you're a child and your father happens to be a High Court judge, you may even have an opportunity to go to the courthouse, see your own father, you know, in his robes, sitting on a high seat, you know, giving judgment. And it would be a very reverential and awe-inspiring situation, because there he's a great authority and he's, judging people. You have to go to jail, you have to pay a fine, whatever, like that. But it's your father. And in that moment, maybe as a child, you wouldn't have that same feeling of intimate relationship. You'd be maybe even scared. But then that same father, he comes home and he doesn't wear the robes anymore. And, oh, I need to see, oh, he's busy. What is he busy? You go inside, Prabhupada says like that, and there he's on his hands and knees, and you're sitting as a child on his back, riding horseback. You see, it's the same person, but a completely different mood of relationship. So we have, we're hearing about this amazing, I actually Googled on the internet, I typed in universal form images, and it's amazing how many paintings and deities even and sculptures, ancient and recent, are there of the universal form. And just to see those pictures are just so awe-inspiring. But then, when you think that same person, you see here sweet Krishna Balaram playing the flute, threefold bending form, smiling sweetly. It seems so much more attractive. Even so we can understand, of course, that, Krishna is the source of all rasas, right? Akila rasamrita murti. So any kind of a relationship that you might want to have with the Lord is available. However, like we know there's Shanta Ras, Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras. So, of course, inherently we know that all jivas, definitely no matter what relationship they want to cultivate with the Lord, are servants. We're all servants of Krishna. And then there's the 7 secondary rasas listed, of which astonishment is one of them, like that. Of course, we know from teachings of Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya is instructing Rupa Goswami and also Sanatana Goswami, he actually discarded this Shanta Ras. And I kind of related that to the universal form, because there might be this feeling of awe and reverence, but there's no relationship. It's not possible to have a loving relationship. It says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 3, text 11, Prabhupada says, in Shantaras, one considers the absolute truth, the sublime great. One does not go beyond that conception. You think of the absolute, something really wonderful and great and amazing and astonishing, but it doesn't go beyond that conception. He says it's an idealistic appreciation, but actually it's only just the beginning. You're just beginning to understand, yes, there's a God and He's great, and how He is great. But there's no active, loving, transcendental reciprocation. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19, text 218, Prabhupada says, it is the nature of Shantaras that not even the smallest intimacy exists, rather knowledge of impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma, like that, is prominent. But devotees want a relationship, a loving relationship with God. That's the whole idea. Because, again, we learn from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 20, text 108 and 117, two very famous verses, and it's good to be reminded. Jivera viśva-rūpa hoy, nityera Krishna das. Krishnera tatasta shakti beda beda prakash. The nitya dharma, or the eternal constitutional position of the living entity, of the jiva, is to be an eternal servant of Krishna, because he is the Tatastha Shakti, or the marginal energy of Krishna. Thus a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. So that's our inherent constitution, our nitya dharma of every jiva, to be a servant of Krishna. Then it says, Krishna boli se jiva anadi bahyamukha ata eva maya tare deya sangsara dukkha. Forgetting Krishna, the jiva has been attracted by the external feature from time immemorial. Therefore, Maya, the illusory energy, gives him all kinds of misery in this material existence. So we have to always come back, we always have to adjust our paradigm, our, our telescope, back to this basic truth. Yes, God is great, He has an impersonal aspect, He has a personal aspect. We are His servant, and servant means we want to engage in loving service. In this same chapter in Madhya Lila 19, when Lord Chaitanya instructs Rupa Goswami, like the Prabhu on Monday was asking, what is the most amazing thing for you? For me, the most amazing thing is this point, where Lord Chaitanya tells Rupa Goswami, if you take one hair, the tip of a hair, and you divide that tip into 100 parts, then you take one part of that and again divide it into 100 parts. That is the size of the jiva. It's invisible, it's so small, you can't notice, it's so tiny. And then if we think how great is Krishna, that just like that he can exhibit this magnificent, this overwhelming, inconceivable, universal form. And how do we approach it? It's only because of our egos, our illusion, our misconceptions, that we're thinking of ourselves as something great and wonderful. But really we're nothing, absolutely nothing in comparison, you see. So I was thinking of a beautiful verse by Rupa Goswami from his poem called Utkali Cavalry, text 26, where he speaks, you see. And so I feel when we are listening about the glories of the universal form, these kind of feelings, as the acharyas exemplify, should try and rise up in our heart. Here Rupa Goswami says, where is this lowly and insignificant person? And where is that exalted state that even great devotees can't attain? Still, a new and intense thirst for loving service now makes me tremble. So Krishna is inviting, even he's making us aware how small and insignificant we are. And he's great and wonderful, but he's making himself available for each and every jiva in existence to have a loving relationship. And so we are not so much interested, on this path of bhakti, we are not so much interested in this awe and reverence and this grandeur and like that. It's like there's a story you all know, no doubt, where Krishna had disappeared from the rasa dance, and the gopis were going through the forest of Vrindavan, looking everywhere for Krishna. And Krishna was really there. He was just watching. He was hiding himself. And just to tease them, he actually appeared before them in his four-armed Narayan form, which is a form that we can worship with awe and reverence, right? Isn't it? So Lord Narayan appears to the gopis. They said, "Oh, Narayan, dandavat pranams. Have you seen Krishna come here?" "No, you haven't." "Okay, cello." They were not interested. And actually, the gopis' love is such that that moment Krishna he immediately appeared in his Shyam Sundar form, because they have so much love for him, he can't hide himself, for that love. So what is more astonishing, what I find more astonishing, is how we're so lucky that, yes, we're living in this dreadful age called Kali Yuga. The planet Earth is on fire in so many places, so many calamities and this and that. But it is the time, only just over 500 years ago, that where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared here, and he gave us this Harinam Sankirtan, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So he's most merciful. Why is he most merciful? See, this is the astonishment that we are hungry for. I don't want to see the universal form. All right, okay, that's fine. I understand, I believe you. But what I want to perceive and see is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He's called Adbhuta Karunya, most merciful. He's called Adbhuta Vadanya, the most munificent incarnation. He's called Adbhuta Audarya, the most magnanimous. Prabhupada quotes this in many places. How is it that Lord Chaitanya, who is none other than Krishna, the same Krishna that we are glorifying here in the universal form, he came, but he came in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Tapta Kanchana Gorangi becomes Tapta Kanchana Goranga. All right? It's Shyam Sundar with the mood of Srimati Radharani. And what is the mood of Srimati Radharani? Srimati Radharani is the source of compassion, of mercy. She holds the Ladini Shakti, the love, the bliss Shakti of the Lord. She's the manifestation of Lord Krishna's heart, actually. So Lord Chaitanya, he is a combination. On one side, we know he's Rasa Raj. We just heard before how he is Akila Rasamrita Murti. He's the source of all rasas. He's the king, the emperor of rasas, of all relationships, like that. But he's also Mahabhav. He's the carrier of Mahabhav, which the epitome, of course, is there in Srimati Radharani. So his internal mood is that he wanted to understand and relish Srimati Radharani's love. And by relishing Srimati Radharani's love, he had to take on her mercy mood and give that love for Krishna indiscriminately to everyone. He relished himself this prema rasa, this mood of love, and he indiscriminately distributed. So he's 3 times wonderful. He's called Maha Vadanyaya Avatar, so merciful. And I was reading. I love poetry. It's true. I think that's why I've managed to stay in Krishna consciousness all these years, because we have these beautiful books by Srila Prabhupada, and I always feel sad when I hear that devotees are not reading, because there's such beautiful literatures. And I was just reading the very first verse of Madhurya Kadambini, and listen. It's just so beautiful. We are here in Vrindavan right now, and you look up Vrindavan temperature on Google and it says it's 33 degrees, but feels like 46. It's so hot, no? It's very difficult to manage anything in this heat. So we're all waiting. When will the rain come? When will the rain come? No. So listen to this verse. Like cloud banks filled with life-giving showers, may Lord Krishna Chaitanya's mercy revive the plant of my life perishing in the desert of material existence. His mercy is unrestricted, giving life to the seeds of the ninefold path of devotion sown in the fields of the heart. The very appearance of Lord Chaitanya's mercy cools the scorching heat of material life and gives joy to the entire universe. It's so beautiful, no? Like that. So in Gaura Lila, this Kripa Shakti, Srimati Radharani's Kripa Shakti, or your mercy potency, is independent. It's no longer under the will of Lord Krishna. So that's why this opportunity of a pure loving relationship with God is available to us very easily, because it was Radharani's order. Krishna Nam Premadan. She says, distribute this love of God, through Nam, the holy name, indiscriminately, like that. So Krishna is subordinate to Srimati Radharani, so that's why Lord Chaitanya indiscriminately, freely gives the opportunity of loving relationships with Krishna. Because he himself says, Radhikara Prema Guru Ami Shishyanat Sara Amanana Nitye Nachaya Udbad. The love of Radharani is my teacher, and I'm her dancing pupil. Her prema makes me dance various novel dances, like that. So it's this amazing, this is what I find amazing. I'm scared of the universal form. It's inconceivable and, unimaginable. It's just astonishing, and I'm glad Krishna can do these sort of things. But really, we are more trying to tap into this astonishing news, that just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we can directly, immediately connect in a loving relationship with Krishna. I will finish the class with that, but I have some homework. I'm going to give you some homework, okay? Because just recently I was reading the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and in there, of course, is Uddhava Gita. Krishna speaks exactly the same Bhagavad Gita, maybe more in detail, to his dearest friend Uddhava. And I was thinking, I have to, it's nice to just go over it and refresh. So in that teaching there, it's exactly the same what he speaks to Arjuna, of course. And actually, like Prabhu was saying on Monday, yes, we should never, ever think that Bhagavad Gita is just ABC. It's just, because even in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna says, I'm the compiler of the Vedas, and I'm the knower of the Vedas. And so that very same person who is the compiler of the Vedas, in a very condensed form, was able to speak this, what we know as Bhagavad Gita, which contains all the teachings of the Vedas. Everything is there. Everything from Kama Kanda to Kama Yoga to Sankhya Yoga, then of course Bhakti Yoga and Gyan Yoga and like that. And somebody might say, yeah, but Vrindavan is not mentioned, Radharani is not mentioned, but it is. It is. And just like Arjuna needed divine eyes to see the universal form, similarly, Om Magyanati Mirandasya, if by the mercy of our spiritual master, he can purify our eyes, he can open our eyes, and we can see that the most confidential teaching of Bhagavad Gita is actually the love of the gopis to Krishna. It's there. Savadaman parijaja, mam ekam saranam braja. You see? Because only the gopis, they had their highest exhibition of what it means to go beyond all religious principles, beyond all Vedic Dharma, and just fully submit themselves in pure love to the Lord. So the homework is, this is the verse that I found in the 11th canto. Listen, because this is astonishing, right? We're speaking about astonishment and wonder. So Krishna is telling Uddhava, indeed, I consider this process, namely using one's mind, words, and bodily functions for realizing me within all living beings to be the best possible method of spiritual enlightenment. He is telling Uddhava what is the best possible method of spiritual enlightenment. And it took my attention because he's saying, if you can think that Krishna is in the heart of every living being, and you can see it and you can act on it, you will get the highest spiritual enlightenment. I was thinking, wow, see, Krishna is giving us so many clues. So I ask you, tomorrow, or for the next few days, think over this verse. It's Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 29, text 19. And Krishna speaks a few verses leading up to that. Go through the day. Go through your normal day. But every person that you meet, that you talk to, that you have an exchange with, that you see from a distance, think, Krishna is in their heart. And it's not just the human beings. It's the trees, the birds, the monkeys, yes, even the monkeys. Krishna is in their heart. We have these yellow wasps in our house at the moment. They're trying to make a nest and they can be quite dangerous. But Krishna is in their heart. The mosquito, Krishna is in the heart. So, damn it, even the mosquitoes. So if we can have this consciousness to see Krishna in everyone and in everything, then we can attain the highest spiritual enlightenment. And of course, Krishna is in our heart and he's waiting. Now, Bhagavad Gita was telling in the 2nd chapter how there's like 2 birds sitting on the tree. There's you as the jiva, jivatma, the spirit soul in your heart, and right next to it watching is Paramatma or Krishna, watching over you, just waiting for you to ask to please come back to your eternal position of being a loving servant in relationship to Krishna. All right? So thank you for your attention. I hope it was all right. I had to turn it around in that direction, you see. And there's really so many more things we could say, but we only have a short time. So many different directions. Like I had hoped that maybe there would be more time to actually speak a little bit about this Akhila Rasamrita Murti. But anyhow, does anybody have a question? Yes, Mataji. Yes, I was so lucky. I tell you, because before that, before I went to this yoga ashram, this was 1979, and I was trekking, I was backpacking, trying to find, I wasn't a hippie doing drugs or anything like that. I was just really, I specifically came to India to find what is the truth, you see. And it was really funny because before going to this yoga ashram, I had bought a different Bhagavad Gita. It was smaller, paperback. So I was thinking, oh well, if I travel in the mountains, actually this one will be easier to carry. So I had already bought Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita too, Bhagavad Gita as it is. But like I said, I didn't know anything. I really didn't. I looked at the picture of Prabhupada on the back. I was thinking, oh, he looks sympathetic. He looks like a genuine person. So I bought this book. but it was hardbound. So I bought another Bhagavad Gita, which was smaller and soft-bound. I was thinking, oh, that'll be so much easier to carry if I'm, we're going trekking in the mountains. No, it wasn't. Now listen, it wasn't. So we decided to go up into the mountains, be there for 1 week, away from civilization, no shops, no traffic, and just do meditation like that. And fasting and all these things, what you do. And so we just arrived there. There was only just one simple hut to sleep in at night. And it was just nature. And we were actually on the top of where the tall pine trees, we're looking down on these tall pine trees and these beautiful meadows, amazing views, like that. And so I sat down and I spread out, I had a little backpack and I spread out some of the things and I was thinking, wow, this is just so perfect. Now I can be here for a week and just, because I loved reading, always had a book with me, always reading something. And I was thinking, so I can be peaceful and I can just immerse myself in this Bhagavad Gita. And I was just sitting down, taking this small paperback Bhagavad Gita, and suddenly, like from nowhere, I don't know how it happened, completely caught me by surprise. This massive black crow, I'd never seen a crow this big, just came flying straight. I mean, there was stuff everywhere. He could have picked up anything, but he just came flying straight at me, with a beak like this long, and tore the Bhagavad Gita out of my hands and tried to flutter off with it. It was a bit heavy for him, so it was like Air India, 717, trying to get off, couldn't get off the ground. It was just, but I was so shocked I couldn't even immediately react, right? No! My Bhagavad Gita, don't take my book. I don't have another book with me. We're going to be here just in nature with nothing for a whole week. What will I read, And this crow just mercilessly flew off and the pages just fluttered everywhere all over the mountains. And of course, it wasn't until months later when I actually joined Krishna consciousness, I realized that somehow or other Krishna saved me, because Prabhupada speaks about the flowery language of the Vedas, and it was a very Mayavad actually presentation. Not just because it says Bhagavad Gita doesn't necessarily mean it's authentic. So I was saved from reading that Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, that's exactly right. It was just amazing. Of course, I felt sorry for myself because I couldn't understand it at that point of time. Just like that. I don't know where he came from, and I never saw him again. And it was not like the place was teeming with crows. It was just this one. Just came to save me. Maybe it was some rishi or something, You never know. Well, that I had left in my room behind. But so when I came back, then I realized, I still have this Bhagavad Gita, but it wasn't until I joined here and the devotees explained to me, then slowly I understood, oh wow, this is actually a really wonderful and astonishing, but also very serious thing, So I felt very fortunate. Any questions? Anything?
Yesterday, one Prabhu gave to the class text number 15.
Yeah.
And on that text, Arjun was seeing the whole universe from the border to the very top.
I know I was here, I was listening, and the Prabhu got into such detail, everything. I'm like, again, I was astonished because I can't remember all those names and I can't remember all of that. So he gave a very in-depth breakdown of the universe, right down to the hellish planets, right down to up to the heavenly planets, like that. It was very fascinating. Yeah, he did it yesterday, yeah. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hari Bol.
Thank you so much.